Hi everyone, this is Phil here. Alright, I hope you guys are staying safe at home, traveling with strict SOPs and maintaining your hygiene all the time. It's been a privilege for most of us been working at home for some time, and I can see that a lot of my connections, every day I look at LinkedIn, someone is always looking for a job. So so I would like to the whole point of me making this video today is that I would like to emphasize on a point that I made exactly a year ago. That is why we tend to be nervous, especially when it comes to interviews. It's very normal, it's very common, especially for young job seekers, graduates, or for those who are not in the in the field for some time. One of the reason why I'm making this video, because I can see that is one unanswered question. Maybe some who have attended some certain type of training understand why that nervousness always pop up right before the interview, or maybe a few days before the interview. All right, one of the thing that I'm going to share today is based on my experience as a candidate 6-7 years ago, and also based on my one-to-one sessions with my trainees, with my team, and also people that I've coached and trained that I meet in LinkedIn and also in my personal social circle. All right, so the first thing first I would like to highlight about being nervous is that one of the reasons why we feel nervous before interview is that we always have this habit of asking a lot of questions right before the interview. Asking questions not to the interviewer but to ourselves. Right? It used to be that we used to travel for interviews, but now the pattern is just the same. Whether we are traveling or we are at home, right before the interview, couple of hours, couple of days, we tend to ask a lot of questions to ourselves. How if interviewer or the hiring manager asked me this question? All right. How if that particular interviewer or the hiring manager asked me this question and I couldn't answer? How if the the HM hiring manager asked me this question, that question, this question? How if I couldn't answer? So when these kind of questions when we keep asking ourselves, we are practically blocking our our creative part of the brain, because we are feeding our brain with a lot of questions that we will answer based on our assumption. Right? What I'm trying to say is you need to let your mind free and let the questioning part is done by the employer or your prospect, the hiring manager detail. So right before, the best way, and that causes you to be nervous because you are doubting yourself, and that will lead to a lot of a bit of slight panic within yourself, and eventually with you knowing or without you knowing, you are actually failing the interview right before you go to the interview. Having a bit of nervousness is always okay. That shows that you are worried in a good way. All right. But as soon as you have certain experience with you have dealt with a lot of people, you communicate with a lot of people, over time this nervousness will slowly fade. Okay, that will take some time. But especially for job seekers, one of the method you can do to stay away from nervousness, or maybe stay away from massive nervousness, is that stop asking yourself a lot of questions. Once you've done your preparation, you know what kind of response you're going to give. If certain specific questions are asked, for example, tell me about yourself, your strength, your weakness, some of your achievements. Well, as long as you're prepared with certain number of explanation, then it's totally good. If there's any other subjective questions, or maybe questions that requires you to answer critically, then you try to answer as best as you can. Even if you're stuck in between, you can always restart back. At the end of the day, we are communicating with the person, and I'm sure that person will understand that interview is never easy, and it's always it's always a strike of pleasant nervousness, pleasant and pleasant and pain at the same time. You wanted the job, but the nervousness is just keep kicking in. So that's one thing. Never ever ask too many questions before the interview. Let the questioning part done by the interviewer, and you do the answering. All right. Never ever assume questions. You can be prepared, but just I would say don't be too prepared, because you're limiting your creativity.